Welcome to Customer Service Academy Radio with author and customer experience expert Tony Johnson. Tony will share his vision for successful customer service, leadership, and business excellence, and speak to some of the most impactful leaders in business today. And now, here's Tony Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Customer Service Academy is on the air. I'm Tony Johnson, your customer experience strategist and trainer. Today's episode coming to you courtesy of Ignite Your Service Training and Consulting and 4XI Global Consulting and Solutions. Truly better together. But today, as you know, we always talk to folks who are out there getting it done. Today, we are welcoming Shanif Dhanani onto the show. Shanif is a software engineer, data scientist, and the founder of Locusive, a company creating AI-powered customer success through SaaS. He helps companies leverage the power of generative AI, and that is on everybody's mind right now, to provide their customers with extraordinary experiences, but also at the same time freeing up customer success teams for more strategic work, such as driving sales and loyalty. Shanif, so great to have you on the show today.
Tony, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for today's talk. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Now, we always kick off with the same question because our audiences love to hear everybody's unique perspective on this. This could be from your point of view or what you try to do as a technology guru out there for your customers. But what does amazing, great customer experiences, what does that mean to you to hear that?
Love the question because I've been on both sides. I've been somebody who's experienced really bad customer service, but also running a business. I'm trying to do a better job myself. So it's going to sound really kind of stupid, but just go back to the basics. Make it easy for people to contact you, make it easy for people to get their problem solved. Don't add a bunch of roadblocks. Take care of their problem, but then a little bit more on top of that to make it truly excellent. Go a little bit further. For example, I work with a lot of my customers to give them like this AI assistant that we were talking about. Sometimes the assistant does what it's supposed to, other times it doesn't. So I say, hey, what were you trying to do? Let me do it for you. And then I'll go and fix the assistant so it fixes it later. So just doing the basics and then going a little bit above and beyond. That's what I'm looking for.
Love that. And folks, write that down because that is the classic definition of great experience. When you think about it, getting the basic blocking and tackling right every single time, and then finding those ways to give that 10% more. So when you think about building customer success teams, and so many organizations are trying to build really great teams that are delivering those experiences, that are taking care of customers, maybe in a contact center, maybe not. But how can organizations build those high-performing customer success teams that we're all trying to put together right now?
Yeah, I love this. This is one of those questions that can have 30 different parts, but if you really boil it down, I would say, again, kind of going back to the basics. First, I think it starts with the right products. I work in the world of SaaS, but let's say you're brick and mortar or you're another type of company, just know what it is you're providing value with. Like if you're a dry cleaner, providing high quality dry cleaning services. SaaS, knowing the product that you're building so you solve a particular customer's problems, just starting with the right product. Because what CS frequently, customer service or customer success, what they frequently have to do is make up for where the product does not work. And so if you're starting with the right product, there's less work for them to do. So you got the right product. I think that it comes down to, for the success teams and the service teams, giving them the right incentives. Frequently, if you are giving success teams an incentive of increasing renewals or decreasing churn, but you're not letting them actually do those things, the customer is going to have a bad experience. The customer success team is going to have a bad experience. Everybody's going to have a bad experience. And so incentives are really important. And then tools, I'm obviously very biased, someone who's building tools for these teams, but giving them the right tools to do the job, I think is also really important in the world of customer success, giving them the ability to find what their customers are doing on your product, analyze it, and use that to tell the story of why they should keep using your product. Really important. So you're probably going to hear me say this a lot, but the basics really matter. And then going one step beyond the basics with the right incentives and tools.
And when you think about the actual people, because it all comes down to people, right? People that are selling or enabling or helping with a broken technology thing, it ultimately comes back to the people on the other end of the line. What attributes, I'm throwing you a winger here, I know it, right? But what attributes do you look for in those people you're going to put in these customer success roles? Like how are you weeding out the folks you don't want and finding the folks that you want? What's an important attribute for a great customer success manager?
Yeah, I love this. The folks that I work with, who I would consider to be really high quality customer success teams, they all care about other people. You can't necessarily be in a customer facing role if you are sort of not caring about what other people see or what they're going through. So I think first and foremost, if you are the type of person who can put yourself in someone else's shoes and say, hey, look, like I can see you're trying to get this thing done, maybe because your boss is bugging you or you've got this thing that you've got a deadline to meet. I can understand you're trying to meet this problem. Let me put myself in your shoes and let me actually care about this. I think that's the first thing. Second thing is really important, communication skills. You have to be able to, it's funny, it's again basic, but you kind of have to be able to talk to people and say, like, what is it you're trying to do? Okay, let me try to understand your goals, your problems. Let me help you figure it out. And I think problem solving is a really big thing as well, at least from the folks that I work with, being able to dive deeper about why someone's trying to do something and then help them work through the problems that they're facing when they're going through those things are really important. So it's sort of like these are skills you don't see as much as I used to, at least, like just basic sort of communication, basic person to person skills, I think go a long way.
And that is a fantastic way to look at it because although we're talking about technology, what you just said basically, if I heard you right, it comes back to empathy, communication, and being able to solve problems for others. And so those are basic people skills that we are seeing a lack of in today's market. So, first and foremost, if you're in charge of any kind of education out there in the world, teach your students communication and empathy because we are lacking that in folks coming into today's business world, but also being curious and solving problems. I mean, that is an important piece, even for someone who's working in something like AI. So I really appreciate hearing that. And if we could, one more step back, there's two phrases that are probably going to come up a bit today. And just in case the audience wants to make sure that they're on the same page with us today, could you briefly explain SaaS and generative AI just at a high level so that everyone who's listening is aligned with our perception or your perception of SaaS and generative AI before we get too far down the road? I don't want anybody tuning out going, I don't get it, I'm done, right? So can you help me out there?
Yes, yes, I will do my best because I'm a techie, and so it's sometimes I get a little too in the weeds, but I'm going to try to keep it high level.
We're
SaaS,
going to put those
it's just
communication skills to the test right now. Those
exactly.
communication and empathy skills, we're going to test them right now.
Man, I spoke too soon. No, I love being able to talk to people about this stuff, especially folks who aren't engineers, because I find it fascinating. So SaaS, software as a service. You've probably used a bunch of SaaS tools. SaaS is essentially just buying some subscription to a software and paying for it monthly. And really, the goal is that software tool makes it easier for you to do something that you have to do consistently. So, Salesforce is a SaaS tool that probably some folks have used. Salesforce lets you keep track of the people that you're selling to, and in exchange, you pay a fee for every month. Mailing software is SaaS. You have buying the ability to send people emails every month, and then you pay a monthly fee. So SaaS is basically just this acronym for this industry that we've all gotten ourselves into, where we build software and you pay for it on a monthly basis.
Perfect.
Cool. So that, got that one, hopefully. Generative AI, or Gen AI, as you might hear it called, that's a little bit more interesting. So without getting into the weeds, we've all probably heard of AI. Some of us are scared of it. Others think it's going to take over the world. Others are like, oh my God, this is the next best thing. Basically, generative AI is this set of new technologies that can create content. They can create words or paragraphs for you. That's sort of what we've seen with ChatGPT. They can also create music and songs. They can create art. It's called generative because they're sort of creating new pieces of content, and it's AI because it's automated and it's essentially trying to do it in a way that humans can. So, generative AI is technology that can create content.
So, folks, if you're subscribing to that Adobe Illustrator subscription monthly like I am, you're probably in the SaaS market. And if you love ChatGPT, you're a pro at generative AI. Thank you very much for bringing that home for all of us. And as we continue to talk about that, one of the most interesting things that generative AI continues to drive is the chatbot response and getting better and better and faster and stronger and smarter. So how can chatbots boost communication and productivity for customers and maybe even enable these customer success teams?
That's a great question. I think we've all had this frustrating experience with chatbots in the past. I know that there was once I was trying to cancel a service and I had to talk to its bot for 10 minutes. And then at the end, it was just like, call in. And I was so mad. But I think that's changing now because chatbots are with the concept of generative AI, with the intelligence that comes from these tools, chatbots are going to become this ability for your customers to help themselves. First and foremost, I think the thing that chatbots are going to let you do is answer your own question without necessarily needing to call somebody or email somebody. And they're actually going to be able to do it, not like in the past where they, made you jump through hoops. And I think that when we can answer our own questions, we're a lot happier because we don't have to wait for other people. We can continue with our work without getting out of our flows. I think that's the most important way that chatbots are going to help. Now, the way they do this, it's going to be kind of interesting. They might actually be able to do more advanced stuff than we're used to. For example, if you work a lot with data like I do, maybe you have to go to your data teams today to run a query or an analysis. But now with chatbots, you can just ask a question. They'll figure out essentially how to pull the numbers, how to crunch the numbers, and how to give you the final answer. So I think chatbots are going to make it easier for us to get the information that we need. Information might have already been there, but maybe you're not technical, you don't know how to get it, or maybe you don't even know where it is. Chatbots that are essentially tied into your own data make it easier for your customers to find what you need. And then if you're a customer success pro who is answering a customer's question, they'll make it easier for you to find the answer to get back to your customers faster.
Well, and I think that'll be great for everybody out there when a self-service chatbot can grab the right information at the right time and give it to me in the right context. Continuing the great work we're seeing from all the great generative AI stuff out there like ChatGPT, that will be a great experience if they can curate information in a way that makes sense when I need it. That will really win the day. And so when organizations are incorporating this generative AI into their customer success, how can they use that to eliminate low value tasks for their teams? And I think you use the phrase AI concierge. I think I saw that in some of my
Yeah.
research, which I love that, by the way. But can you talk a little bit about, you talked about how it's going to help the customer, which is awesome.
Yeah.
How does that end up helping the customer success team and these low value tasks and things like that?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you letting me know. We thought a lot about the word concierge. I really like it. So we work a lot with customer success teams. If you're not familiar with what that is, if you're in the SaaS world, your company is selling software. Frequently, you have a very large team of folks inside your company who are set up to essentially service the folks who buy your software. Their job is to make sure that you, as the buyer, are using the software properly so that you don't churn, so that you keep coming back. But if you're one of these customer success professionals, you have a lot of tedious admin work to do, mostly because your customers sometimes aren't using the software and they're asking you to do the work for them. Or maybe they are using the software and they're asking you for reports on how it's going. So you as a customer success professional have a lot of low value, small tasks to do, and you kind of have to do them because you don't want these customers to churn. You want to make sure that they've got a lot of value. So that's the stage, setting the stage. Now, how can AI help? Well, if you're a customer success professional, at least the folks that we've talked to, they're saying they're spending anywhere from 30% of their time to 50% of their time every week just trying to look for data and trying to pull reports or create reports. Maybe their data is stored in a database. Maybe they're selling some software where you keep track of how many people are logging in, but the end customer doesn't have access to that information. You, as a customer success pro, have to go and pull that and create a report if your customers ask you. This could take time. Maybe you don't know how to pull the information from a database, which requires a special language called SQL, coding language. Or maybe you just don't have access and you have to go to another team inside your company. With AI, if it's connected into all of the data sources that you use, you can just ask the AI a question. You can ask it how many people logged in. And because the AI is connected to the data, it can pull it for you. And rather than you having to wait for 6 hours to hear back from your data team, you get an answer in a minute. Or rather than you having to go and create a deck yourself, you can say, hey, create me this deck that has these 5 things in it, or the presentation that has these 5 things in it. Save yourself 4 hours from having to go through and create a new presentation because you had a system do it for you. So a lot of this low value stuff, the stuff that doesn't really require you to interact with human beings or doesn't really require you to provide a lot of value, but you still have to do, you can start to automate it away now whereas you couldn't before because these generative AI tools are getting a little smarter.
Great. And the last question in our kind of big five, right? The first part of our 5 and 5. How can organizations use customer feedback and reviews to stay ahead of the competition? And does AI play a part in the sentiment analysis and things like that as they think about how to use that data?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I've started working with a couple of companies who collect surveys. Maybe they're SaaS companies that offer surveys for you after you buy something online, or maybe they're reviews, like you review a piece of software, and let's say you've got millions of these surveys. That's lots and lots of text. Well, this is perfect for generative AI because you can have this tool now automatically analyze these surveys and give you a report about what do people want, what do they not like, what are a lot of people saying that they appreciate about your product? So you can start to analyze what people are saying. Now, this could be from surveys from your end customers, but it could also be from the emails that people are sending you, or maybe that you're sending internally from your own team. It could also be from plugging into your Slack team workspace and analyzing what your team is talking about. Maybe your team has a lot of questions about one particular client, or maybe they're continuously talking about one feature that's giving them a lot of problems. If you've got an AI system that's looking at all this stuff and reading it and continuously analyzing it for you, you can give a report back to your CEO or your product manager and say, hey, look, like these are the things that people are worried about. Let's go fix these. Let's either build a product or build into our product a way to fix these, or let's figure out how to solve this shipping issue if you're e-commerce, or let's figure out this problem that people are having, which you can now get a better sense of because you have this tool that's automatically analyzing all this information, which you didn't have before. So that's probably the best way to use generative AI, in my opinion.
And folks, it's always been so easy to look at the quantitative numbers, rate on a scale of whatever, because you can run that through every survey software that you have, even right down to freebies will give you some level of analysis on the numbers. It's the sentiment analysis on the qualitative pieces, the verbatims, if you will, where people just type stuff, they just word vomit into a box.
Yeah.
That's where it's always been harder. And so having the ability to use an AI solution to look for keywords, the best we used to be able to do was word clouding this stuff. Now, you don't have to read everything if you don't want to. You don't have to necessarily rely on just what are the biggest words in the word cloud. You can actually have technology that will help you sort through. Because it's one thing to have 10, 20, or 30 surveys, but if you got 100, 1,000, or a million surveys, how do you ever make sense of it? So using the technology to get that sentiment analysis and then taking advantage of it and taking action on what you hear, that's how you just become super powerful and really can be heard by your customers.
I love what you just said about taking action. It's super easy to just take a look at a graph and say, oh, okay, and then go about your day. But if you can actually use what you're learning and change something or make something better, I think that's where you can shine really as a business. And that's where you can shine as a product team. That's where you can shine as someone who's trying to build something. And a lot of folks I know are trying to get to that place where they should be able to take action, but sometimes they don't have the data or they don't know how. And so, yeah, totally agree that I think that's really where you can shine.
Fantastic. Well, folks, if you are loving what you are hearing right now, and I know you are because we are having a great conversation, I think here, please make sure to take time to like, to subscribe, to leave 5 stars, share with your friends, help keep Customer Service Academy one of the top customer experience podcasts in the world. And now, as we keep moving on, Shanif, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let us go. Let's do it.
All right, 5 quick questions, 5 quick thoughts to get to know you just a little bit better. What's your favorite hobby?
I'm going to show how much of a nerd I am. I love playing this game, Civ 6, Civilization 6. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Really interesting, fun video game. So love it.
What brand's given the best customer service out there right now?
All right, so I got two. So I'm going to give one, which is everyone's probably heard of, DoorDash. I think that they have good customer service because anytime you have a problem, they will automatically refund you. They'll automatically let you take care of it without any hassle. And they're really good with that. The second one, I live in New York. I'm in Midtown Manhattan. There's this place called Stonebridge Pizza. And whenever I would order one of their pizzas, which are also very good, they would just throw in the best Rice Krispie s'mores that I've ever had for free. Got me to be a loyal customer. So I love that stuff. Very good.
That's amazing. How about your favorite food? We were just talking about pizza. What's your favorite food if you had to pick one?
Yeah, gosh, how do you pick this? I was thinking a lot about this. I'm going to go with like really, really good cured meats, like from Spain or Italy. I think that those are really, really hard to beat. I lived in Italy for a while, which is why I might be biased.
Fantastic. What are you binge watching right now? My wife and I just binge watched 2 seasons of House of Dragons. What are you binge watching?
Ah, interesting. Interesting. I haven't seen that yet. I believe it or not, I am rewatching Lost, which is actually a really great binge watch if you do it again. And then I think my new favorite show is The Bear on Hulu. Fantastic show. Love it. So I'm watching that like crazy right now.
And finally, your favorite vacation spot.
I think I have to go with Thailand. I've been there a few times and I love it. Every time I go, I would go back. So awesome place, awesome country, great food. So love it.
Well, Shanif, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for dropping so much wisdom, especially in the technology space. AI is on everybody's mind right now. How can people get in touch if they want to learn more and get in touch with you? How can people do that?
Thank you for having me, Tony. So if you're interested about this, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Shanif, and my email is shanif@locusive. That's SHANIF at LOCUSIVE.com. Look us up on LinkedIn. We're at Locusive. Feel free to reach out to us. So really appreciate the chat today.
Amazing. Again, thank you so much for sharing so much value today. And right now, folks, remember, we are still in the middle of the great service comeback. There is so much happening out there right now, so much uncertainty, so much happening in the economy. It is one of those times when you absolutely want to win on not price value. I can tell you that. Do not compete on price value, compete on experience, compete on quality, and you can do that and win in the marketplace, because now is the time to be thinking about this. And until next time, I have been Tony Johnson, your customer experience strategist and trainer, reminding you to keep your customers at the center of everything you do, because that's where the most amazing things are possible. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will talk to you next week.
This has been Customer Service Academy Radio with Tony Johnson. Tony is available to speak at your event, meeting, or workshop. Have a powerful customer-focused day.